Come on, let's prepare, make some good profits today. Market left us big clues right here. I want to talk to you about very important liquidity over here and over here. Now we're looking for a big move. This is what you need to be looking out for. But before that, intraday analysis. Sorry, I've been a little unwell, so I apologize if there was no video yesterday. But I have to make this quick. Yeah, now 921, I explained this quite simply, right? We were in the buying continuation in that orange, so there was absolutely no reason to short this until we break. And you would see that we identify the blue. Now, this blue algorithm here is very important, right? You have to understand the blue algorithm. Now, if you have not watched yesterday's video, this is a very important video. I told you that you have to wait for blue algorithm before you want to short this. So please watch it later after this. And I just want you to see it for yourself, right? Once the blue started building liquidity, it's very beautiful, especially off that 5-day now. There is a lack of runway today. Let's talk about that, whether there is continuation, but yet there is a trap that may be forming right here. I will show you that as well. But it's quite straightforward today if you understood how to be looking out for the blue algorithm in the 30-minute chart right here. So once again, please watch yesterday's video. It's a long one, but it's a very important video. So please do watch that later. Now, a big part of translating that 30-minute blue algorithm is understanding this at 10:08 right here. Now, I talked about how there's plenty of room all the way down to 5-day moving average, so you have to be looking out for more confirmation. Now, at this point here, you saw the teal algorithm that's being in control here. So all you had to do was to wait for some sort of structure to start forming that retrace. You saw that retracement right there. This was an absolutely beautiful trade. So you have to be looking out for that retracement. Now, this retracement then was controlled by that magenta algorithm right there that we have identified quite early on around. It's quite early. I identified this quite early on. And you see how it turned into some sort of a control for the bears before this retracement into that teal algorithm before we start heading down to that 5-day moving average there. So members, I will be once again providing a detailed breakdown and training video from this particular trade here. It's an absolutely beautiful trade. I took so many trades on the way down. I would just quickly link them here, but the bigger one will be right here off that beautiful teal that you see was forming secondary structure here, especially on the break once we identify the yellow. So once again, I will be explaining all this in a trading video, and if you want a glimpse of that, please watch this video. My third time telling you that. Rewatch it if you need to, because it's very important information understanding about the blue algorithm right there. Now, it's about learning this skill, this lifetime skill, so you can do this for the rest of your life by learning to find 5-figure profit trades. And I've shown you it's very possible to do it, but it's a long-term skill you need to learn. So don't rush this. And most importantly, please do not join if you're looking for signals. Signals will ruin you. You need to learn this skill for a lifetime. So you can do this every single day for the rest of your life. And we're talking about $10,000 a day. Not a month, mind you. Every single day. This skill is worth every ounce of your energy and determination to learn and master. It's not going to be easy. Why should it? But it is possible. Stay focused. Run this race strong. It will be life-changing, not just financially, but you will see how trading will make you a better person. Stay focused. We got this. So where do we go from here? Now, firstly, just be very careful about this teal, right? Because market has been building so much liquidity on this teal here. So you want to be very careful if it starts to grab the liquidity here on the way up. But otherwise, you can always wait for cups to close, especially near that liquidity level at 667 here. So on the 30-minute chart, you will understand that from the, firstly, the magenta. So understand magenta. the market wants to grab liquidity, firstly from the magenta and secondly from the green of that 667 level, as I was talking about as well. Otherwise, wait for cups to close. You can absolutely wait for that to happen, and you will see much clearer structure if it wants to grab the 5-day moving average here. Now, 5-day moving average is very important because I want you to see how the magenta is also still building liquidity. It could still very well be in control because this looks like a beautiful handle that can be formed with the 5-day moving average here. So you just have to be more mindful. Look out for that. If we do start forming some handle, you will realize that it is actually from that previous 5-day that we formed that cup and handle here. Zoom out a little, you will see for yourself, right? The 5-day retest, then we have closed the cup and we could be forming that handle. This is why you see the magenta still in control here, and you will be very clear here. What you need to worry about will be if we do form that liquidity wedge. Now, this will be worrisome, so just pay close attention to that. You will be able to see that in that orange and I meant the blue and the magenta right there. So just pay a little closer attention to that. Now, the larger liquidity, I just want you to see this again, and this will make a lot of sense if you're watching or you have watched yesterday's video. Look, we are still in that yellow, right? So if this continues bouncing up in the yellow, you're not surprised. So level by level, algorithm by algorithm, you have to be waiting out. If you want a major dump, will be from this blue algorithm right here, right? We will close the larger cup, form a handle before we start pushing out here. So pay close attention to this. If you want this to have a massive dump, just set alerts there. Don't be front running this. Plenty of structure you can be waiting out for, but otherwise, if it wants to break the yellow, it will be quite clear. By then your 5-day will start to plateau. This will be important because you want to be looking out for certain structure here on the way down. Now here, this particular level is quite important too, because that's where we previously closed a very important cup as well. You see the wick here. I was talking about this cup here. So you have to be looking out for that too if we do retest that yellow, as I was talking about. Major liquidity here. 5-day plateauing, right? So pay close attention to that. What's selling, you have to be mindful. If it sells in that magenta, you have to be extra careful because magenta will always be, remember, right here, there's green and magenta. This can still be a bullish control. Grab the liquidity up here. We've seen that happen many times. So you just have to be a little bit more mindful here, especially if there's no selling continuation. So much more of the East macro structure. I talked about that in yesterday's video, so please do spend some time to watch that. Thank you very much for watching. See you closer to opening bell.